Hey friends, there was recently a really hyped book that came out, and it was hyped for a few reasons. Some of it was mostly just like the popularity of the authors and just that's it. And that is Zenith by Sasha Alsberg and Lindsay Cummings. And ever since it has come out, I've had this really weird feeling about it. And I don't mean like, oh, I feel like I'm gonna hate it, or oh, I'm not sure about it. Actually, that is exactly how I feel. I remember this book was about to come out, so I went on to Goodreads to see like what the reviews were. Are people liking it? And like seeing if I wanted to buy it. Because in general, I'm not a huge sci-fi person, but I went on to Goodreads and saw a very unfortunate number. It was like at a 3 stars. Not even like a 3.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It was at a 3, meaning borderline being a 2-star book. Typically, I wouldn't shy away from a book that I was interested in. I was genuinely interested in this, even though I wasn't big on sci-fi. And then I fell down this hole of reading these reviews. These reviews were like almost as critical and angry as my reviews for any of Colleen Hoover's books. They were so angry, pointing out all these flaws and all these terrible things, and I was like, no way. I typically shy away from books that I hear are bad. I know there are some people who hear a book is bad and they're immediately like, oh my gosh, I need to read this so I can just hate everything. Sure, on the occasion if I read a book that I think is gonna be good and it's trash, I'll get a good lull out of it before DNFing it. This one had this other feeling. I really want to buy this book and support this book. And I finally know what it is. And I've been thinking about this a lot lately. A member of our community made this. A member of the BookTube community made this book. Not even in a popularity sense, but more in a way of, I am a writer, correct? I like to write books. My dream is to get my book published, and I'm a booktuber. This person published a book, and they are a booktuber. They like opened a gateway. Not that like anybody else hasn't ever done that before, but basically I think what it is I'm a booktuber, so let's say I'm getting my book published. What I would want to happen and what I would expect to happen and really hope to happen is to have members of my community embrace my book and support me. For me buying this book, it almost feels like, well, yeah, I would want somebody that watches my videos or somebody that supports me to buy my book, obviously. So basically, it's like transactional. I would like to buy somebody else's book and support them, so then someday other people might support me. And I'm not saying that in like the sense of, oh, if I don't give these books good stars, nobody's gonna like me. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I would expect someone to give my book a chance. I don't know what it is either. Maybe it's this weird like mentality of I'm a writer and this is like my dream, so why would I not support somebody else's dream? And so a big question a lot of people have had since this book has come out is Zenith worth the hype? Which I think is a very valid question based on the reviews and based on everything that people have said negatively and positively. And you can also bring up the fact of like, oh, are people just giving it a 5-star because they really like the author? Maybe. I'm not gonna be the one to say anything about that. So in this video, we're gonna be figuring out if Zenith is worth the hype. Over the next few days, I'm gonna vlog my experience reading this book, and then we're gonna sit down and we're gonna get a full review, and in the end I will answer the question, is Zenith worth the hype? It's time to read this book. I'm like kind of excited but also horrified. So let's read it. Listen dog, I'm on literally page 10. Wait, no, this is literally page 2. Why does it say page 10? What the frick? But literally this random boy in the prologue has said, vengeance will be mine. He literally said that, vengeance will be mine, 3 times. 3 times. I'm trying to figure out, is he supposed to be a psychopath, or do they just think it's really deep that he like really wants vengeance? I don't know, but just gonna hope for the best. I was one of the people that bought the e-book that they released whenever the frick that came out, and I remember the whole time being like, this girl Andy is literally Selena Sardathian in space, and it was annoying me so much. Like, beautiful girl with blonde hair that's really brutal but also really pretty and really funny and just like is having a good time. Literally the same person, what the frick. Literally they just said the ship is like made out of glass. You know what else is made out of glass? The glass castle. Know what else is made out of glass? Throne of glass. As your second in command, the girl said with a voice as smooth as the spiced rigna they shared earlier. What? I don't know why, but I'm just like dying laughing right now. Like, I feel like I'm reading about a meet and greet right now. Literally, it's like she was just sitting in there alone, and then some random other girl walked in and was like, hi, my name's Lyra. And then like they had this long introductory paragraph. Like, this is what she looks like. This is what she does. She's really cool. And then like some random girl named Gilly walks in. She's like, hey. And then they go through this long paragraph about her. I didn't buy tickets to this meet and greet, but okay, nice to meet you. Can I get your autograph? I don't know if you're somebody who watches SNL, but there's this sketch with this like person named Gilly, and I just keep picturing her as this random girl named Gilly. Wait, why does she have metal cheekbones? Is that like a fashion thing, or she just like did she break her cheekbones, or? Okay, what the frick? I was about to just make fun of this, like, really clunky, weird dialogue, but then I read the next line, it's, like, even worse than that. Literally, this says, "Will you do yourself a favor and go to the passenger bay so you can crap your pants in private? I can smell your fear from here." I feel like I'm reading a children's book, but next line. "The boy tripped over his own webbed feet." Webbed feet. I literally feel like they're just throwing weird characteristics on people and being like, 'cause it's space. Like, this boy is a duck because we're in space. I don't know. I feel like there needs to be an explanation. Like, is it like an aquatic planet he's from? Are they like half duck? It won't be explained. And this is like an irrelevant character. But like, I just want, like, why does he have webbed feet? Is it just like a quirky characteristic that this planet has where they all have webbed feet and they all have beaks as well and feathers? It's Earth and they're ducks. Wait, what the heck? I'm on page 35 and they just mentioned like, oh, like they casually just mentioned like, oh, by the way, there's a permanent lens in all of their eyes so we can see into each other's eyes. This just turned into some Black Mirror crap that I'm not getting behind. I'm horrified. That's like so invasive. Like you can just look into somebody's eyes and their mind and stuff. That random Gilly girl is taking a shower and then Andy's just like, ooh, like let's see what's going on. Like that is so invasive. I hate it. Like what if they were like, I feel like this girl is betraying us, and then like they look and she's just like pooping or something. Like what? I'm starting to think that these girls are the enemy. Like she's already mentioned that she's like a brutal murderer, but it's okay because she's so sad about it. Oh no. I was really enjoying this scene where like I was actually like kind of like really digging it. I'm gonna read this for you, and I like thought it was cool, but like also I'm kind of annoyed by it. But it says, "A breath of a second. Andy stared at the Explorer ships on the rear cam, thinking of the men and women inside, knowing that here and now they would be facing their final moments. She felt a flash of pity for them, the pang of regret Andy always felt before she took a life. Like, it's okay, she's a serial killer, but it's okay because she's sad about it. Like, the Bloody Baroness, I am a ruthless murderer, I don't care, I'm so strong, and all this other stuff. But I feel a little bit bad. Like, what? She just blew up an entire ship of people. She literally was like, oh wow, there are probably families on that ship. Oh, this planet is gonna be so sad that all these people I just murdered. This girl is the villain. Okay, this girl Gilly, who I'm picturing like that girl from the SNL sketch. Literally, when we first met her during the meet and greet, oh, she's so brutal, like she's this 13-year-old killer, she's been through so much, she's so strong, and now this girl's crying. She burst into tears, fat droplets splashing on the dead metal at their feet. You can't just say that somebody's so brutal and epic. I'm not saying you're not allowed to have more emotions than like being brutal, which apparently a lot of these people are only brutal and nothing else. Oh, no, you can't do this. Oh my gosh, that random guy, Dex, he just said, let's read it. Ooh. He said, it'll be just like old times, love. Is it Warner now? Are you trying to make him Warner now? You can't do this. You can't trigger me like that. You can't just throw that word in there. That is copywritten. You can't do that. Ooh, I can't wait for Restore Me. This book has done nothing but just prove the fact that Restore Me is gonna happen and I can't do it. I can't do the wait no longer. Yo, know how they were like, these girls are brutal, they're murderers, you know, they'll do whatever they can to survive. Here's some dialogue. Gilly sighed. I'm losing feeling in my A word. You guys, I need to move. Don't say the A word, Gil, Breck chimed. These girls are murderers. They're thieves and everything else under the sun, but you're not allowed to say the A word. This is ridiculous. I'm literally rolling my eyes. This is so stupid. I can't. I'm so confused right now. I'm on this chapter. It's like some from random like political lady. Nor is just like the queen of this planet. You know, like federal government, no state government. It's just like, we're a planet, we all just same government. Like, I feel like that wouldn't work. I feel like that's also, like, very, very weird. I'm not saying there can't be, like, different sectors and stuff, but, like, can you imagine if Earth had one leader? I can barely even agree with my own leader. Are you kidding me? There would be riots. You're telling me there's no political parties or anything? We all just follow this one person? Because everybody just a dictatorship? It feels very much like, this person is just the ruler of this planet. I don't know how it works, but that's how it works. Like, I don't get it. So I'm on page 142. I don't really know what's happening right now because it's not being very well explained and not telling me what's going on, so I'm just kind of confused and just hoping for the best that it'll make sense eventually. But something like they're in this like place and it like exploded. I don't really know what's happening because it was very poorly explained about why we're here and what we're trying to do, but anyway. And here's the line, I'm like crying. My leg, someone screamed, my leg. Tell me that isn't the SpongeBob guy. My leg. Listen, y'all, I think that I can actually say that I went into this really hoping that this wouldn't be a dumpster fire. It was a dumpster fire. Not only is this book bad, but it's terrible. Like, honestly, one of the worst books I've ever read. This went wrong in just about every area that exists. The characters were terrible, the writing was just overall cringy, and the plot didn't exist. It doesn't feel cohesive, it feels not edited, it's just really messy. I think I'll give it a 1.5 stars, mostly because it wasn't the worst book I've ever read. Like, there were a few scenes and a few things I enjoyed, but besides that, it was just, like, utterly terrible. If you haven't read this book and you want to be cautious of spoilers, I would just tell you to leave now. Or if you're a person that's just, like, generally not interested in this book and just want to hear some of my thoughts and maybe some spoilery parts to see why I didn't like it as much as I did, so then maybe you can see if you would like it, you can stick around. I feel the first thing that I need to bring up is the characters, because this book had the dumbest character descriptions I've probably ever read. One of the characters has webbed feet. Like, the weirdest descriptions. Like, oh, Lyra has scales. I feel like it was just really weird and unnecessary to just throw things onto characters when they did not need it. Very weird world building. And by weird world building, I mean there is no world building. I barely even know what the Mirabelle Galaxy is. Who is she? I don't know, because you never really told me anything about it other than we're here. The characterization of these characters is so off. Something I noticed about this character Dax, who is our love interest, I don't even know if I'd call him that because he's not very interesting. He has 0 traits. No character traits. I'm not even joking when I say this. I've read this entire book and I can't point out a single thing that he is. Is he tough? He never really showed us that. Is he funny? Wouldn't say so. Is he interesting? No! He's just like a shell of a person, only described as being good looking. A lot of character descriptions, especially with Andy and the main crew, is they're always described as being brutal. They spend so long constantly saying how brutal, how epic, how tough as nails these girls are. They'll do anything to get by, constantly thrown in your face every time they do something. But then, for Andy, the bloody baroness who takes lives and doesn't feel bad about it. And the second she actually kills somebody, she says, I feel so sad about this. I always feel regret, but I have to do this. I have to do this to survive. And it like leads you to believe that she was just thrown into a really unfortunate situation. Oh, this big accident happened a few years ago when she was younger on her home planet, and now she has to do all these terrible things just to survive. Like, normally I would understand that, but you completely contradict the entire bloody baroness attitude in the book. When we go back to her home planet, which name I don't remember because it's really poorly explained, her parents literally say like, yo, like, they're gonna erase your sentence, you can stay here with us and have a normal life. And she literally says, let's find it because I need my receipts. I asked if you wanted to attend the luncheon with me next week. I won't be here next week, Andy cut in. I'm leaving as soon as this job is done. What? Like, literally though, she's willingly doing this and she's gonna be able to be normal again, but she's like, no, I'll just do more jobs and do the thing that apparently has been so triggering for me ever since I've had to do it, and it's just really unfortunate, but I'll do it. They're almost like caricatures of themselves. I'm Andy, I like murder, and I'm brutal and epic because I'm Andy and I'm brutal and epic and murderous. Like, there is 0 reason for her to be like that. What stops her from just going to somebody else's planet and just like changing her identity and living a new life? There's nothing that's stopping her. There's nothing holding her back from doing that. She's willingly doing this but then complaining about it afterwards, and it's so annoying and so messy. Andy has metal cheekbones. And you might be asking, why does she have metal cheekbones? Like, what does that mean? Why did she get them? What do they add to the story? I ask the same exact thing because it never says. Every time they're mentioned, it's just like her metal cheekbones because she needs them. Even if you're somebody who hasn't read this book, I'm sure you're just as confused as I am, and I've read the entire book. Let's get into the writing. I realized that the writing is very, very choppy, and I'm assuming this is probably because of the co-authoredness of the book. I feel like each of the authors had very different voices. It felt as if several people kept telling me the exact same things, but in different ways. I wrote down a few sentences and just awkward phrases that just made me cringe really hard, so let's read through some of them. Deep in the belly of hell incarnate. What does that even mean? Deep in the belly of hell incarnate? Death filled the void left behind. Death filled the void left behind. What does that even mean? Death filled the void? Isn't a void something that's empty? How do you put death in there? Also, this is something I noticed, and maybe I am the only one, or maybe it's just my impression based on my own reading experience, but the characters talk very, very oddly formal to each other. I feel like when you're writing a book about people that are close friends, it's more chill, it's more nonchalant, like, yo, what's up, boy, or something like that, you know? They would talk as if like they're like presenting at the United Nations or something. They don't contract their words, so they're like, wow, I cannot believe that, and that's like at least my impression. They're like, I do not think that this is possible. I don't think this is possible. I do not think that this is going to be possible. Like, that is just like how I read it, I guess. And it sounds very weirdly formal and not like people that are best friends talking to each other. Like, they talking like politicians, and I don't get it, and it's cringy. The descriptions are really weird, which I said earlier. Literally one time Dex was talking and they're like, his voice sounded like it was coated in oil. What does that even mean? Is he a car now? Is that what we're doing? Even if I put that aside, I don't know what coated in oil means. Like, if you chugged a thing of oil, would it be like smooth? Like, why don't you say smooth? Like, to me, that would not sound smooth if you chugged a thing of oil. You'd be like, ugh. I'm like, what are you trying to say? That doesn't make any sense. Another thing that was really frustrating is the world building is horrendous. If I can even call it world building, because nothing is explained. Literally, they mention things here and there that you think you'll find out what they mean, but you just never do. You're not even given like a clue of context as to what it might be. If you're like a writer yourself, maybe you've heard this advice in the past. Show, don't tell. That's more of in character descriptions and in certain emotional things. So we're talking, instead of blatantly saying, he's sad, you'd say, tears are streaming down his face, he's curled up in a ball on the floor. I get the impression that he's sad instead of just being like, he's sad. This book takes that to the next level, far too literally, and shows you some random key piece of this world, but just never tells you what it is. For example, Moon Chew. This girl Lyra is just chewing on her Moon Chew and it's cold and bitter. You might be wondering, Caleb, what's Moon Chew? Did they explain it like after she ate it? No. They didn't. I still don't know what it is. Is it like supposed to be gum? She's just chewing gum, right? But it's called Moon Chew because we're in space. Is it like chewing tobacco because it's like bitter and cold? I don't know. And it's never explained either. And I could try to put my context clues together, but you're literally just saying she's eating Moon Chew, and that doesn't tell me anything about it other than like it's something you put in your mouth. It could literally be a pencil eraser for all I know. It flew as fast as a Darrowak. I'm just as lost as you are. And then another thing is spiced Rigna. Spiced Rigna. I don't know what that is. And like, after reading a 530-page book, I would figure that you would tell me what the frick that is. It's a food, right? It's some sort of a food because they ate it. It was spiced. It was Rigna. I kind of get the impression that it's a pasta. But also, if you're just gonna throw in a pasta, why don't you just call it spaghetti? I feel like they felt the need that in order to make something sci-fi, they just had to make crap up. They didn't need to just put spaghetti in the book. They had to make spiced Rigna. The overall plot is very weak. Like, the whole setup of this book in the first 100 pages are all about, we need to get Valen out of prison. So our whole mission is we need to get him out of here and then our sentences will be cleared. Great. Reminded me of Suicide Squad, but it was fine. Let's do it. Literally, within like 60 or 70 pages, we're in the prison and we get him out. Our entire heist is over in less than 100 pages. The entire action of this book seemed to be over at 200 pages, which is less than halfway through the book. So it felt like the pacing was really weird because typically we prepare for a heist, we do all these different things for a heist. We have this big elaborate plan, we have to do all these shorter little things before we do the big thing. Six of Crows is a perfect example of this. In this book, we hit the climax at about page 200, and then we just have falling action for the rest of the book, and that ruins the pace. And then there's no resolution either, so we just end on a falling action for 300 pages, which really just takes away from the story. But I will say, the ending had me a bit shook. Like last night when I tried to go to bed, like I was thinking about it, and that was something that I enjoyed. But also, in terms of a sequel, we set up a big narrative for one character. This book is supposedly supposed to be about this group. Andy is the only one we focus on. For real though, Breck had 0 screen time. She has 0 personality, 0 motive. I don't even remember what she does in this book besides just exist. Along with Gilly. Lyra had a few good scenes, but she still didn't really do anything. If a sequel does happen, none of your other secondary characters have anywhere to go. Like, there were so many different POVs and so many characters that it was so hard to latch on to anybody. Something about Gilly that I noticed. She's constantly described as like brutal murderer and she's so tough as nails and epic and whatever. But for real, the second we get into action, the girl starts crying. If this girl was actually as tough as we constantly described her as, she would not go down without a fight. She wouldn't immediately burst into tears and be like, we're done, we're gonna die. Literally, there's this line that made me like cry laughing. Like every time I think about it, I laugh. My latest tweet was about this. So we get caught by whoever the frick they are. Gilly sighed. I'm losing feeling in my A word. I need to move. Don't say the A word, Gil, Breck chided. But you called Dex one. Are you kidding me? Literally, what? You're telling this girl, don't cuss, when like literally you're a murderer? This girl's allowed to be a murderer, but you're not allowed to say the A word. And like somebody did bring up a point on my tweet. They're like, yo, but Hermione from Harry Potter, she doesn't swear at all, but like she's still a really, really awesome character. But J.K. Rowling, she doesn't spend every waking moment, every single page, reminding you how epic she is. So let's say Hermione does swear for the first time in Harry Potter, and everybody ever is like, don't cuss! You're not allowed to cuss! What? Like, I can't take it seriously, and I legitimately can't take it seriously. I can't even think about it without laughing. They told her not to cuss, and it happened more than once. Like, it happened a few times. So stupid and idiotic. Like, on our ship, we're allowed to steal and kill, but the second you swear, ooh, you gotta come in. And you could be like, oh, she's like a parent to her. She doesn't want her to like be bad or whatever. She's a killer! Retweet if your name is Valen Cortez, and vengeance will be yours. Even the overall backstories for a lot of the characters were really, really poorly done. With Breck, I think her story was literally told in like one sentence during the meet and greet at the beginning. She's this cool girl from this planet and she doesn't remember anything. That's just our easy way out, so we never have to explore that storyline or make up some dumb excuse about how we found her. Like, nobody's backstory is really fleshed out. It's just been like, oh, they have a sad backstory and they're here because we found them and they're here. It's hard to keep characters in your mind. These characters are so forgettable. And they all have similar backstories, so then you just like get everybody confused with each other because they're all the exact same character. They're all the exact same. They're all just like brutal girls with no motive at all. Another thing that I noticed about this book, and if we're talking about the whole, this book is kind of Throne of Glass in space, I think this is a funny detail to point out. Of all the things to steal from Throne of Glass, I feel like the one thing you wouldn't want to take is the no diversity. Sarah J. Maas's biggest controversy of all time isn't something you want to take into your own book. Maybe that's something you would learn from. I even had a shimmer of hope because I watched the book trailer and it showed Breck to be a person of color. Breck is never described. I reread her introduction paragraph in like a few other places and read some reviews where people said the same thing. It's like, she's a giantess. That's the only description we get about her. We don't get her skin color. We don't get any other detail about this girl other than that she's a giant. For all I know, she could be The Color Purple, starring Oprah Winfrey. I kinda would understand. No, I don't understand. Even like the robot in this book is like low-key straight, which I don't understand. Something from the beginning, he says, "I am Valen Cortez, vengeance will be mine." Every time we cut to his POV, he said that, and I laughed so hard every time. It was like a joke. "I am Valen Cortez, vengeance will be mine." Like, what is that? Oh, you're nasty and you need Jesus if you feel like that. Oh my gosh. But they also like casually mention like, oh, our girls are all logged so we can see into each other's eyeballs because that's not creepy and Black Mirror like at all. But then it never comes into play at all. Ooh, I have something that I forgot to mention. There is a low-key rape scene and a non-consensual kiss scene in this book. I know, are you shocked? Because I was too. The non-consensual kiss was something that I expected to be addressed in some way. It happens, there's a big lash out, and then there's never mentioned again. No consequences for this non-consensual kiss. If I'm correct, because it was really, really underexplained. I didn't even know where we were. Dex walks up to Andy and just kisses her. And Andy, being who she is, an Aldi brand Selena Sardouthian, she fights him. She's like, heck no, you don't do that. This is my big feminist moment. You can't just kiss me. She like attacks him. Like she threw like a table at him or something. Like something so stupid and unrealistic. Also, there is a rape scene. It's not like super in depth. This takes place between, I think it's Valen's mom. The puzzle was really weirdly put together, so it's kind of hard to follow. So Valen's mom had like manipulation skills or something. Like some sort of a power that could like manipulate people. Does this in order to get herself pregnant and basically like influences somebody, manipulates somebody into sleeping with her. And it's like, it's for a villain character. If you're trying to make your villain like a bad person and your way of doing that is through rape, I just feel like that's really, really messy and kind of insensitive. It's just taking something too far. You can be like, she did all these terrible things and all blah 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 blah, that's why she's a villain. But like something as sensitive as rape to be in your book to make somebody more hated is just like so disgusting and just too far. If you've read this book and you want to comment about that, I would love to hear what you have to say, but I just feel like that was too much. Also, something that happened like far more than it needed to happen was Dex kept calling Andy Love, trying to be Warner, but like not wanting to give Warner any character traits, so just like being Warner but not, you know? Vengeance will be mine. I talked about how the characters talk weirdly formal, and I just found an example of this. So like they get assigned their job or whatever, and they like give them like this AI guy named Alfie. This robot is staring at her because it's a robot, right? Tell me that this isn't like weirdly formal for this situation. She says, "Are you incapable of blinking?" The way a normal person would speak is, "Can you blink?" Which is a stupid question anyway. Why would a robot blink? Why would somebody go through the extra mechanics just to make a robot close its eyes? It's so stupid. "Are you incapable of blinking?" What? Why? Tearing through the tendons beneath. Vengeance will be mine. Selena had a passion for darkness, and Androma Rosella's soul was as darkest of them all. But I thought she felt bad about it. The thing I don't get is Andy's backstory. Her whole thing was that she was on her planet, she was like the protector of this political leader's daughter or something, right? So like she's supposed to watch out for this girl. They were flying around for fun or something, and then there was a crash and this girl died. Why is that Andy's fault? And they say in the book, like, you're guilty of treason. How is that treason? Let's put it like this. Sasha and Malia Obama are just sitting in their car one day, some Secret Service guy is driving them around. They get in a car crash. Is the Secret Service member who was driving them guilty of treason because there was an accident? She looked purely Andy, angry as a wet feline, and terrifyingly beautiful. What? So she attacks him, right? This non-consensual kiss. She's not having it. Then, he saw the moment when Andy's face changed. She transformed into someone else entirely, an actress playing the perfect part. How dare you cheat on me? So she wasn't even in on the plan the whole time. She just lashed out, assaulted him with a chair, and then was like, oh, this is part of a plan. Oh my gosh. So yeah, the kiss was not consensual and she assaulted him. So cute romance, love it, love it, great. Why? Drama Rosella wasn't an angel. She was death incarnate. Except I feel bad about it. They executed Plan B with the ultimate amount of finesse. I just was thinking of Bruno Mars and Cardi B the whole time. I don't know about you, but... We didn't, you know. Your comrade wanted to whine like a baby about his feelings. I know I'm kind of making fun of this book, but there were a few things I really liked. There's this scene where Dex kind of explains himself, his whole reason for betraying the girls in the first place and that whole situation, and they have this really good one-on-one. I actually really enjoyed this scene. I feel like it was kind of well written. Like, I felt like this was the scene I was most immersed in, and this is the scene where like I actually saw the characters as human beings and not just character cliches vomited onto a page. Let me read this stupid line of dialogue for you because I was screaming. Elfie continued on with his explanation. All I can determine is that Mr. Valen Cortez's DNA seems to have changed. Andy says this. I screamed. What? Like he changed his blood type or something? Oh my gosh. Like he changed his blood type. What? As if he's in jail and he's like, you know what? I'm really feeling O negative today. Lyra is on her home planet, she reunites with her brother, they have this talk and he's like, yo, the queen wants to talk to you, it's really serious, and she's like, fine then, Lyra said, if you're such a big terrifying sential now. She pinched his cheek, forcing the scaled patch to illuminate with a flash of anger. What? Are they the Sims or like they glow whatever emotion they're feeling? What? You'll have to chase me down there. Lyra, I don't have time to play childhood games. You're already losing, she yelled. What is this character? We land on this planet under the worst circumstances ever, and this girl is like, you know what I want to do? Let's race down! Let's go see the queen, but I'm gonna beat you there! Ooh, let's read this. This is a good one. Andy, Andy, Andy. Her name echoed through his mind like a flock of adherent siren birds. What is that, you might be asking? Yeah, beats me. So then there's this big attack, and Dex like grabs one of their masks or whatever, and he like puts it on to like disguise himself. Dex's Tenenbrin blood boiled. The man who'd worn this suit before him had murdered innocents. He had murdered innocents. Let's see. I don't know about you, but I feel like there's somebody else in this book who also murdered innocent people. There's this scene at the beginning I remember. There was this ship full of people. You remember them? They were trying to get her because she's a fugitive and she just blew it up. Oh yeah, what was her name again? Andy! Literally, what is this? It contradicts the whole thing. It talks so poorly about villains because they're a villain, but like the main character might do the exact same thing. There's a scene where Valen is like, yo, Andy, like, when we go to this ball, like, I want to dance with you. Like, I would ask one of your crewmates, but they terrify me. I just was, like, dying laughing. Like, yeah, they were just so scary. Especially when she told that girl not to cuss. Oh my gosh, it's so stupid. The big twist at the end. I am Valen soulless, he said. Vengeance will be mine! Please somebody tell me that this sentence makes sense. Auntie fought like Valen was her past come back to haunt her. Huh? What? So yeah, that was Zenith. So to answer the question, is Zenith worth the hype? I think I have to say no. I really did want to like this book. Like, believe it or not, like I genuinely wanted to like this book. It had so much promise. There were so many things that I normally would have really enjoyed if it had been done the correct way. What I will say is I can understand how somebody could enjoy this book. That isn't super far-fetched. But I also think it's important to point out some of the things wrong with it. Like, what is a Darrowak? I still don't know. So that's that. I don't have any ill feelings feelings towards the author. I could even say I like the authors in some regard. I'm not attacking anybody, I just personally wasn't a fan of this book. If you're gonna be somebody who liked this book or maybe didn't like this book, either way, keep it respectful. I feel like if there's somebody who doesn't like a book and there's somebody who does like a book, it immediately becomes like a feud, which I think is a super toxic mindset. I think I tweeted this at one point, but if you're the type of person who sees that somebody doesn't like a book that you like and your first thought is to get mad or dislike a video or leave a mean comment, you are gonna have the hardest time existing as a human being on the earth. I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you in my next one. Oh yeah, and I post videos on Tuesday. I always forget that that's something I need to say, but I post videos on Tuesdays, so yeah, next Tuesday we're probably gonna be doing something that's not gonna make me angry. Bye! Well deserved.